Being humble. Being humble is an important thing in the Bible. Sorry if there's noise in the background while I make this video, but I'm going to talk about humbleness in this video. So, maybe humbleness. The Lord said, "The humble shall succeed, yet the ones that shall not be humble shall fail." Now, what is humbleness? Humbleness is in the middle between you can be the sweetest person in the world or you can be the baddest person in the world. It's knowing both. Because if you always obviously be the sweetest person in the world, you know there will be consequences. Now, you might not think of it, but if you're sweet, then you're gonna obviously let people rob you or do this to you. Yeah, it's gonna break you. But if you're rude, then people aren't gonna be like friends with you, or they're gonna do bad things to you because you're rude to them. So, being humble is where we need all to be. Because being humble is really important. Now, being humble is between knowing both and good. So let's say you're a good person and you know, like, when something good happens to you, you're not shoving it in other people's faces. You're just like, you know you did, like, you're celebrating, but you're not going full on out. It's just like when something bad happened to you, you don't really like complain and say like this and that and like, oh my gosh, this and that, because you know you're going to get over it. You know you're going to get over it, because being humbled is knowing that good things and bad things happen in life, which is like the most important part, because sometimes I feel like we don't take certain things as humbleness. Because for example, like we got, like, our parents bought something we really wanted, and then we're like super happy, we're like, oh my gosh, yes. But and then we're like, instead of being like, you know what, from now on I'm gonna help my parents, I'm gonna clean the house, I'm gonna do my chores, I'm gonna like support them for what they've done, it will be humble. Now, saying like scrolling on TikTok and not really helping your parents out when they bought you something you really wanted, that's not really being humble, because you're just taking it like, oh, they're my parents, they bought me this. Like, or like another example of, oh, I have like, most people, now everybody takes things for granted. We all do. We all take breathing for granted. We all take living in a house for granted, right? We take things for granted. Now, of course, it's hard to not take it for granted, because it happens like every single day, where we should like, it's like almost a normal thing. Now, this is where harmony comes. For example, each day you live, it's normal to fall asleep and be expecting to go to a new day or to wake up again. But it's not always that situation, because God tells us that there will be no tomorrow. So live like your day the best. Like, typically think of it as your last day. Now, I know it's hard to think like, today is my last day, and then you wake up tomorrow and like, that's my last day. Well, like, it kind of gets like weird. Or we don't just all take it like as our last day. Sometimes we even forget, or sometimes we just forget that it technically doesn't say there's no tomorrow in the Bible, because God says if you wake up, you have a purpose, and like there's a reason why He woke you up today, because He wanted you to do a certain thing. That's why I find it as our little mission of the day. I do, like, maybe God wanted me to go out in public and go share the gospel. Maybe God wanted me to make this video. Maybe God wanted me to go visit my grandma. Right? And now we must be a little bit more humble with the situation we get. That happen normally. For example, eating. That's why most Christians pray before they eat, and sometimes I forget to pray before I eat. And it's okay. We just gotta have to start fixing that situation. We start taking humbleness on what happens on a daily basis. For example, breathing, eating, having a roof over your head, having a toilet where you need to go to the bathroom, right? When you start taking these things not for granted, now it's gonna be kind of hard because it's like normal, but we need to humble ourselves because Jesus humbled himself and went 40 days and 40 nights in the desert with no food. Not just that, he also humbled himself because he was almighty and powerful. He was up in the sky and he was like, these people need help. I'm gonna humble myself. Sorry about that, but like I said, Jesus had all the power in the world. Instead of saying like, you know what, I'm just gonna make magically these people be healed. No, he said, I'm gonna show humanity what it's like, and I'm gonna humble myself to show them. Like, he could have just let it all happen with his powers, everything, but he said, no, I'm gonna like truly show them. I'm gonna go. And Jesus became a human, and then he humbled himself to even sit with bad people, to sit with sinners. Like, imagine you being, let's say you have a bunch of gold. Let's say you're the richest person in the city. Yeah, you come down to have a meal, not with let's say the president, because you're all rich or somebody famous, which you could because you have a lot of money. Because they're like, hey, you want to get dinner with somebody famous, and because you have the money, it's most likely they said yes. But no, instead of searching for other more rich desires, you decide to go sit down with a homeless person and share a meal with them. That's what Jesus did. He shared a meal with sinners. He would sit down and he would eat with sinners. That's how much humbled he is. This is why we take things for humbled and not for granted. Because when certain things leave in our life, we start complaining, we start doing this or that. For example, if we say that like, my sister stopped washing the plates every day, or I'm like, why you stop washing the plates? Like, I got used to her washing the plates, but one day she's gonna move to college, and then I'm gonna have to wash the plates. And is it easy to wash plates? Yeah, but do I just genuinely want to do it? No. So that's why we need to take our lives and the people we're around and the opportunities we get humbled, because we never know, because there's always accidents in life, and a car comes by somebody and they die, right? Or like, you can say, oh yeah, I see my sister every day, or saw my mom every single day. One day they might not be there no more, and it is sad to think about it, and like, you really don't want to think about it, so you just don't think about it. But truly, one day somebody special in your life is not going to be there for you no more. This is why it's really important to show them, even though they might be a little grumpy, even though they might be a little mean, it's always important to show the ones we love the most appreciation we can give them, because one day might not be there for us anymore. Just like one day we might not be for them anymore. So maybe you can also tell them, hey, you should be a little more humble, because one day I might not have you and you might not have me. Now there's a lot of different situations when it comes to humbleness, but humbleness just means making yourself equal. Not thinking you're better and not thinking you're worse, because they're like, I'm so ugly, like, oh my gosh. Now this is a true situation. We all, like, most people think like, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly. Like, no, Jesus, like, that's kind of rude, because like, Jesus made you, he made your image, and you're just saying like that he made you so ugly, right? Or, but then if you go on saying like, I'm so pretty, like, look at me, then you're just being prideful, right? So it's important to keep ourselves in an equal, place. And that's the video for today about humbleness. Bye.